Hey everyone, it's Jenny and welcome back to my channel. This story ain't over. Today I'm super excited to bring you a video that I do at the end of every year, which is my anticipated book releases for the next year. So today I'm going to be talking about the 12 or so books that I'm really excited for that are coming out in 2023. And most of these are books that are sequels or by authors that I really love or that I've generally heard about recently, but it's by no means an exhaustive list of all the books that I know I'm going to be excited for in 2023. It's more just the ones that are generally up the top of my mind and that I'm excited for. But if there's a book you know that's coming out in 2023 that you know I would be excited for, definitely let me know in the comments down below, because sometimes I just don't know when a book has been announced, so it would be really helpful for me. But with that said, I feel like this video will be helpful for you if you're trying to figure out which books you might be excited for next year, which ones you might want to save your gift cards for, or which ones you might want to pre-order, and also just to see what I'm generally excited for. Now, before we get into the books on this list, I did want to talk a little bit about the sponsor of today's video, which is Book of the Month. So as you guys know, I absolutely love Book of the Month, and they've recently opened up to Canada, which is really awesome for my Canadian viewers like me. But for those of you who are unfamiliar with Book of the Month, they are a super popular, fast-growing online book service for readers. Their mission is to promote new and emerging authors and help readers find books they're gonna love. The way it works is that their team vets hundreds of books that are coming out each month, and they create a curated selection of books that you can pick from to get in your Book of the Month box. This way you spend less time researching and trying to figure out what new releases you might enjoy and just reading and enjoying. One thing I love about Book of the Month is their really awesome skip policy. It's super risk-free. If at any point you don't like the books for a specific month, you can skip that month without any charge. Now, this month I'm super excited because Book of the Month has a really awesome intro offer for those of you who have never tried it before. So for December, you can actually grab your first box for only $5 using the code WONDER. That is an amazing price, especially for a new release adult hardcover book. Now, I of course grabbed a couple books from Book of the Month for this month. So I grabbed The Circus Train by Amita Parikh, and this one is a historical fiction set in 1938. And then I also grabbed a really popular new release thriller, which is All the Dangerous Things by Stacy Willingham. For this month, I also have Babel by R.F. Kuang, which I didn't grab because I already have a copy, but you should definitely go check it out. It was one of my favorite books for this year, and you can grab it for only $5 from Book of the Month this month with the code WONDER. As always, thank you so much to Book of the Month for sponsoring today's video, and now let's get into the books on my anticipated releases list for 2023. Alrighty, so first up we have Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo, and this is coming out January 10th, 2023. I'm particularly excited for this one because it is the sequel to Ninth House, which, if you guys don't remember, actually came out in 2019. So it's been like 4 years now, and I've been waiting for the sequel since then, like many other people. I absolutely loved Ninth House. For those of you who don't know, it's a bit of a dark academia with supernatural elements and really focuses on this main character named Alex Stern, who's sort of given a second chance at life after some really terrible things happen to her, and she's going to Yale and part of this like secret society called the Ninth House, which is sort of tasked with making sure that these other secret societies at Yale don't overuse their magic or abuse it in any way. And she's a character who has been able to see ghosts since she was a child. So it's just a really interesting and sort of creepy supernatural book, which I absolutely loved. And it's actually great for spooky season as well. And I also actually reread Ninth House recently, and it still held up. And I honestly loved it even more the second time around. So I'm honestly hyped for the sequel. And I just really want to know what happens with some of the characters in the book, especially after having reread the first one. Next up, I have Chain of Thorns by Cassandra Clare, and this is coming out January 31st, 2023. And this one won't come as a surprise for any of you who have been watching my channel since the beginning, because I have been such a big fan of the Shadowhunter series and all of Cassandra Clare's books since I was like a teen. So I am always excited whenever she puts out a new one. And although I am less excited about them now than I was back then, I still really am in love with them, and I do really love her characters and the way she writes them. So this is the final book of the Last Hours trilogy, which features the kids of the characters in the Infernal Devices. If you're not familiar with the Shadowhunter series, there's like different series that are all interconnected and in different timelines and that kind of thing. But this one is also set in, I think, the early 1900s, so it's got that aspect to it, the historical aspect to it. And honestly, I think out of the Shadowhunter series, I think the Infernal Devices is my favorite, and then this one comes a close second because I just love the characters, and I am so curious to see where things are gonna go in this last book because it's the finale, but also there was some really crazy revelations at the end of the second book. So overall, I'm I'm just really hyped to see where this goes, as many of you probably are as well. Next, I have The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi, and this comes out February 14th, 2023. So February 14th, as we know, is Valentine's Day, but it also happens to be Roshani Chokshi's birthday from what I can remember. And I just found it interesting that like her birthday is on Valentine's Day, but also that her new book is coming out on Valentine's Day. And it's also interesting to me because from what I've heard, this book is about marriage and sort of the horrors of marriage. So I just found it funny that it's coming out on Valentine's Day. But basically this book, from the Goodreads description, is a sumptuous Gothic-infused story about a marriage that is unraveled by dark secrets, a friendship cursed to end in tragedy, and the danger of believing in fairy tales. I love that description. I love that it's a bit gothic, it's a bit of a fantasy, it's got this idea of fairy tales, and honestly, I just love Roshani Chokshi as a writer. I love the themes that she tackles in her other books, and I have been following her since her debut, and I'm just so excited for her foray into adult books. So honestly, out of all the books on this entire anticipated releases list, this is the one that I'm the most excited for. Next up, I'm really excited for Happy Place by Emily Henry, and this one comes out April 25th, 2023. Emily Henry and her books literally have me in a chokehold. I will read anything she puts out at this point because her romances are just chef's kiss. I think she's written other books before them, but her romances are the most popular ones. So Beach Read, People We Meet on Vacation, and Book Lovers, I loved each one of them. They're some of my favorite romances that I've read, and they're just so fun, and they just hit all of the right spots. I think she just has a really great way of writing romances. So I am always excited when she announces a new one. And this one seems like it's gonna be really fun because it seems to be like a second chance romance. Basically, the description says, a couple who broke up months ago make a pact to pretend to still be together for their annual week-long vacation with their best friends in this glittering and wise new novel from Emily Henry. I love the idea that it's like a vacation novel, but also that it's about a couple who's like pretending to still be together. So it's got that fake dating element, but also not really. It's more of like a second chance situation. And I feel like it's gonna be really nice and angsty, which I absolutely love. And I feel like this is a dynamic that she hasn't really written from before. I feel like her previous novels were all like, you know, falling in love, but this one will be sort of trying to fall back in love, which I think is gonna be so much fun. I feel like it's just gonna be the perfect book for me to take on vacation and read and fall in love with, so I'm super hyped for this one. Next up, I'm really excited for Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, and this comes out May 16th, 2023. The cover on the screen here is not the final cover. I think this is just the ARC cover, but I thought I would put it up anyways. This one I have been excited for ever since I heard about it. This is R.F. Kuang's new book. For those of you who are unfamiliar, R.F. Kuang is the author of the Poppy War series and also Babel, which recently came out and everyone has been raving about, me included, because it's fantastic. And she has some really great sort of commentary on colonialism in specific in every single one of her books. But this book is quite different and it's set in our modern day. It's not a fantasy. And what I'm super interested by for this book is that it sort of delves into publishing, but also like the book community in general, and also Yellowface. So the plot, from what I know, it's set in our modern day real world, and it follows two characters. So there's Athena, who's this Asian American girl, and then there's June, who is this white girl. And the two of them went to university, sort of became writers together, and are in the same debut year. But unfortunately for June, her book sort of tanks, doesn't get a paperback release, whereas Athena's book does really well and she is now like a new rising star. But the kicker for this book is this crazy plot element where Athena basically dies in this freak accident, and June witnesses this accident and decides to steal Athena's last finished manuscript and basically edit it and publish it as her own. And she has her publisher rebrand her as this Asian American writer as Juniper Song. So it becomes this really crazy situation where June is stealing someone else's work, pretending to be Asian American, basically culturally appropriating. And, you know, it's going to delve into how publishing sort of enables this situation and the book community in general. And I think it's going to be fantastic. I have heard mixed-ish opinions on this book from early reviews, but regardless, I am excited to see how it goes. I think R.F. Kuang is a brilliant writer, and I'm curious to see how she tackles all of these big topics. And I feel like it's such a batshit crazy concept that I'm just so in awe of her confidence to like tackle this and write this book. So I appreciate her effort regardless. Next up, I have Love Theoretically by Leigh Hazelwood, and this one comes out June 13th, 2023. And this one is another romance by the author Leigh Hazelwood, which, if you don't know, she wrote The Love Hypothesis and also Love on the Brain. I think that's what it's called. I haven't read her second book, and this one's the third one, but I did really love The Love Hypothesis, so I do want to end up catching up with her other romances. And honestly, it was just like such a fun time reading The Love Hypothesis. Like, it was just a warm, fuzzy feeling while reading it. And while I don't think it's like the best book or like the best romance I've ever read, I did just really enjoy the experience of reading it. So I just want to like feel that feeling again. So that's probably why I'm excited for this one. Based on the description, this one says it's about rival physicists who collide in a vortex of academic feuds and fake dating shenanigans in this delightfully STEMinist rom-com from Leigh Hazelwood. One thing I kind of love about Leigh Hazelwood's books is that they all feature sort of characters in STEM fields, which I feel like are characters that we don't really get to see that often in romances. So I like that it's like this new perspective. Although I'm not a STEM person, like I didn't really do science, technology, engineering, or math in university. I was a humanities major. It's still fun to like read about characters who are different from me. So yeah, I kind of like the academic setting and sort of the rivalry aspect of this one. But I'm also interested because this one's got a fake dating aspect, which The Love Hypothesis already did. So I'm curious to see if she's gonna reinvent it in some way for this one. The next book is Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong, and this comes out July 25th, 2023. So for those of you who don't know, Chloe Gong is the author of These Violent Delights, Our Violent Ends, and then also the companion series Foul Lady Fortune. I think that's what it's called. So I haven't read anything beyond These Violent Delights, but I did really love that book. I really enjoyed it. I thought the research behind it was super cool, and it's based off of Romeo and Juliet. So this one seems really interesting to me because I believe it's her first adult novel, and it's also a really big epic fantasy, and it's based off of Antony and Cleopatra. So yet another Shakespeare play. And I've honestly never seen many retellings of Antony and Cleopatra, so I'm super curious to see what I'm gonna think of this one. Although I've never read the play, I do plan to read it before I pick this one up. And based on the description, this is what it says. It says it's an adult epic fantasy debut inspired by Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra, and it's a fiery collision of power plays, spilled blood, and romance amid a set of deadly games. Antony and Cleopatra obviously is yet another tragedy by Shakespeare, so I'm curious to see if this one's gonna have a tragic ending for the series in general. And I'm also just intrigued by the fact that this one is like so firmly a high fantasy or epic fantasy. These Violent Delights was sort of like an urban fantasy, historical fantasy, so it's slightly different genre from what she's done before, so I'm curious to see what I'm gonna think of this one. I'm also excited that it's an adult because, as you guys know, I've been enjoying adult books a lot more recently, so yeah, overall hyped for this one because I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Coming out on the same day on July 25th, 2023 is Lightbringer by Pierce Brown, and this is one that I'm really excited for, even though I have not caught up in this series. So this is the 6th book in the Red Rising series. So originally, for those of you who may be familiar with it, it was only 3 books originally. So Red Rising, Golden Sun, and then Morning Star. But the author decided to do a continuation of the series. And I was a really big fan of the first 3 books, so I was really excited when he said he was going to continue the series. Although I didn't love the 4th book in the series, Iron Gold, and I haven't gotten around to reading the 5th one, Dark Age, I'm still really excited for this next book, Lightbringer, and I believe there's going to be another book after this one. And yeah, I honestly don't remember too much about Iron Gold, so I'm probably going to go back and reread that one and then continue with the rest of the series. But I think I'm just really excited for this book, Lightbringer, because he's finally announced it. Like, he was saying that it was going to come out for ages and then didn't have a cover, didn't have a title or anything, but now that those 2 things are out and that we have a concrete release date, I feel more motivated to actually like catch up with the series and finish it. For those of you who don't know, the Red Rising series is basically this like really epic sci-fi saga, and it follows a sort of underdog character in this society that is separated by color, not in like the race sense, but like by color. So like golds are the highest and then reds are the lowest, and it's just this really incredible saga and sort of political drama, you could say. So yeah, basically based on how much I love the first 3 books, I'm just really excited to see where the author takes the series. Next up, I have Family Lore by Elizabeth Acevedo, and this one comes out August 1st, 2023. This is actually one that I heard about just today before filming this video. I was on Instagram scrolling through, and then I saw the author post about this book, and the reason I got really excited about it was because Elizabeth Acevedo, if you don't know, is an author of many YA contemporary novels, and I absolutely loved like every single one of them. I think I've read all of her books, and the reason I was really excited about this one is because it's actually her first foray into adult books as a category, which has me really excited because, as you guys know, I haven't been really enjoying YA books recently, so I feel like even if she had come out with a new YA book, I probably wouldn't have picked it up anytime soon. But based on the description, this one says that it's a story of one Dominican American family told through the voices of its women as they await a gathering that will forever change their lives. I love this concept, and I feel like it's going to be a bit of a intergenerational story, and also just something really lyrical and beautiful based off of Elizabeth Acevedo's previous books. So yeah, I don't know too much about this one, but I think it's just going to be like a really beautiful literary fiction, and I'm so excited to see Elizabeth Acevedo like succeed also in the adult category. The next book is Heavenly Tyrant by Xiran J. Zhao, and this one comes out August 29th, 2023. This one is one that I'm really excited for because it's the sequel to Iron Widow by the same author, and that's actually a book that came out I think in January this year, and I read and really enjoyed. It wasn't like a 5 stars for me, but it was a really fun read and had some really interesting elements to it and like some crazy plot twists. So I'm overall like hyped to see where the series is gonna go in this next book and like what's gonna happen in general. Basically, for those of you who don't know, Iron Widow is this like really epic sci-fi series that is based off of Chinese history, and specifically like one Chinese empress, I believe. And it features like just really crazy characters, and specifically one like unhinged main character, which I absolutely loved and hated at different points in the novel. So I'm really interested to see how this next book is gonna go, because I feel like she is such a firecracker of a main character that she could just literally do anything, and I would be insanely fascinated by how the story goes. And also because there were some revelations at the end of the first book that could really change the landscape of the entire world. So I'm really excited to see how it goes. If you're a big fan of sci-fi and sci-fi movies, but also like history, and you want like crazy characters, then this is definitely one to pick up. Alrighty, this next book is one that I'm honestly not sure if it's actually coming out on this day, but this is what Goodreads says and this is what I've heard. And that book is Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare, and tentatively it has a date of September 1st, 2023. So this one I don't know too much about, but from what I have heard, it is Cassandra Clare's first foray into adult, and it's also her first non-Shadowhunter book, which is really exciting. I feel like she's only been writing Shadowhunter stuff for like the past however many years, and I know while I love the Shadowhunters, I'm really excited for her to be writing something non-Shadowhunters and to see how her writing holds up in a totally different situation. But if you're interested in what this book specifically is about, the Goodreads description says it's the tale of a young man raised to be the body double for an unworthy prince, a young woman destined to change the world, and a host of other characters, including criminals, princes, magicians, and warriors. It honestly seems like kind of a generic fantasy, but I do like the idea of the main character being a body double for a prince. I feel like that's an interesting concept and one that I haven't really seen before, so I'm excited to see how this book goes and like if it's gonna live up to her other books and if it's gonna be even better. Maybe we'll see. I feel like I'm gonna go into it with an open mind, knowing that it may disappoint me, and who knows, it might surprise me. Alrighty, the final book that I'm super excited for 2023 is one that kind of came out of left field, and I don't know how to feel about it. But that book is Percy Jackson and the Chalice of the Gods, and this is by Rick Riordan, and it's coming out September 26th, 2023. So as many of you may know, if you've been following my channel, Percy Jackson is one of my favorite series ever. It is the series that I grew up with. It is the series that I reread all the time. That has a very special place in my heart. And as you may know, there is a TV show in development with Disney, with like Rick Riordan super heavily involved in it, that is going to be coming out at some point, probably next year or the year after. And so with that whole production, Rick Riordan had suggested that maybe he would do another Percy Jackson book if that would help like get the series made. And so that's where the genesis of this new Percy Jackson book is coming, from the perspective of Percy himself. So like a la the first 5 books of the series, like the original Percy Jackson series. We're getting it from, you know, Percy's first person voice. And although I'm really excited to get that again from Percy and to like dive back into the world of Percy Jackson, I think part of me is just like kind of weary about this like new edition, because like part of what I love about the Percy Jackson series, like the first 5 at least, is that it's so nicely contained and it's so well done and it all fits together. And I don't particularly love it when authors sort of tack on an additional sequel to a series, especially because this one is like less to do with him wanting to like write a specific story and more to do with like helping the series out, like the TV show series. So I don't know how to feel about it. Like, I know we get more about Percy in the Heroes of Olympus series, like we've already seen that, and I still really enjoyed that series, even though it wasn't the same feeling as Percy Jackson. But yeah, I don't know. Based on the plot that is on Goodreads, basically Percy is gonna go off to college, but he has to get some letters of recommendation first. So he's got to deal with some gods, and we've got Annabeth and Grover in it and like the whole gang. And I feel like I'm gonna be really excited to just like sort of see the characters again, but part of me is still gonna feel like this is kind of like fan fiction, like this is the in-between, you know, cute story that lives rent-free in our brains, but it's not really like the epic sort of story that we're used to seeing in a Percy Jackson book. So I don't know how to feel about it. I feel like I will enjoy it, but I'm also gonna be like, this is slightly unnecessary, but still, I'm gonna love it. So I don't know what I'm complaining about. I just feel like I have mixed feelings about this. Like, I just don't love it when authors do this, but I still want the content, so I don't know. I would love to hear from you guys, like what you're feeling about this new Percy Jackson book. Like, I'm hyped. Like, I'm definitely gonna read it the second it comes out, and like, I'm excited for it, but I'm just like, is it gonna live up in any way to the other books? No, like I know that, but I'm still gonna enjoy it, but I'm still gonna be upset that it doesn't live up to the other books. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know how I feel. Anyways, that is the last book on this video for my anticipated releases for 2023. I'm so excited for a new reading year and to like reset my goals and just get into the new books coming out. I always feel like January is just like a lovely time to reset and feel like I have a fresh start on life in general. So I'm really excited for the new year and for all of these books. I would love to hear from you guys what books you're excited for 2023, and definitely let me know if I missed any major ones that you think I would love. Leave those in the comments down below. I would love to hear from you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely don't forget to check out Book of the Month and grab your first box for only $5 with the code WONDER. And if you want to get more regular updates on me and my reading, then definitely go check out my Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, and TikTok in the description down below. And I will see you in my next video. So please remember that this story ain't over. Bye!